I never wanted to play the guitar. I never did. I didn't want to play any instruments. I wanted to play video games forever. I still do. It's like, wouldn't it be kind of cool if like we did something with blood and like I'm getting beat up?
Yeah.
I kept getting like texts from my agent like saying, like, hey, like speed it up.
For those of you who don't know, Zach goes by the name Riot of Me. So what do you think of the music video so far?
Of what you showed me?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm shocked, but at the same time I'm not because I knew that you were so good. But, you know,
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm glad that you like it. I had such a fun time filming that on Sunday. That was probably like the most fun I've had on a shoot. To
Really?
be honest with you. Yeah.
Well, I'm honored because I was afraid that I was going to show up and we were going to do it and you're going to be like, I can't stand this. You know?
No,
it was kind of hot.
no.
You know, we didn't really have that much planned, but
Bro, I don't get outside enough, so that was like a lot of fun for me. Like I got sunburnt and I was like feeling
me
good
too.
about it. I was
Yeah.
feeling good about it.
Good.
I was like, fuck yeah, we had a great day. Like this is fine.
it was a lovely day. I mean,
Yeah.
to go out, I instantly felt comfortable with you too.
Yeah.
Which which was amazing because usually I'm very nervous, especially about something I
Right.
don't know. And like,
Right.
Because to do this and to be on camera with your own music and do this whole video because you want to be in character, you want to present yourself in a way, and I was like, how am I going to get into that zone? But
It's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Did you feel vulnerable like in the beginning, or was it more so like when were you like, okay, this is
I think
let's
instantly,
just
dude,
make some. Okay,
which was
cool.
awesome. Yeah, because
Sweet,
you were just super cool and chill, and like you're really into it. And I think our visions just kind of really aligned.
I think so too.
Right?
I think so too. Yeah, man. Like I'm really happy. I think it was really nice too, cause like I brought my girlfriend as well on the shoot, and my friend was also doing makeup too. So that was really nice, and like I'm glad that they got to meet you and
Right.
and have a good time and
Absolutely.
hang out at a coffee shop and stuff. I thought that was fun.
That was very sweet. Yeah, I'm happy to have met Malu. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm
No, yeah,
naming names.
yeah.
I'm happy to have met and it was
Lily, yep.
Lily.
Yep.
And she was so sweet, and it was really just a blast because they made me feel welcome, and her makeup was awesome, and shout out to her for even doing it.
Yeah, it was sick. It was really fun. I think it was such a fun time, dude. I wanted to like talk about like the BTS and stuff. Like, how did you and I meet? Because for those of you who don't know, that was Zach and I's like first time meeting, and Zach goes by the name Riot of Me, and which is a question I want to get into in a second, but that was really our first time meeting yesterday. We talked online for like a little while. And how did that come about? Like, because you're from New York originally.
Correct.
Okay, so like you moved to Florida. How did you find me on Instagram? I think it was, right?
It was definitely Instagram.
Okay.
Just a lot of stalking of just random people. I think
Valid,
it's.
yeah.
I think I was close enough to your scene that, like, I was able to find a recording studio when I first came down, and just through there, you meet a lot of people that play music and a lot of people that are into videos and photography and fashion. And I found, I'm sorry that I said stalking, it's probably not the right word, but I just did my homework through people that
Right.
were kind of in it,
Right.
and then you definitely showed up, and I forgot where I must have found you. But I do know that the Sunny Boy thing really caught my attention.
Okay, yeah.
And that's where I was like, dude, the videos are great. I can see
man.
that like you're in it. Like
Yeah.
you had that whole event, and I can tell that you had a lot of love. And I was like, so what is it about? So I really looked into your stuff. I was like, it's really great.
Thank you, man. I
So
appreciate
I knew
that.
you were the guy.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I like when you followed me, I was like, yo, this is a really cool person that just followed me.
Thank you.
I was like, babe, look at this. Like,
So cool.
It was really cool though. Like I loved the vibe instantly. I was very intrigued, like just by the profile picture too. Like it's such an interesting picture.
Cool.
But yeah, man, I think that was a really cool way to meet. It's very like Gen Z of us to meet that way.
I agree.
To be honest.
As a millennial being a Gen,
Right?
I'll take
I
it.
mean,
I'm trying to get younger here.
yeah, who cares? I mean, who really cares? But yeah, I think yesterday was cool. I say yesterday, it was like 2 days ago, but the music video shoot went really well. We didn't really have like a plan going into it, I
Mm-hmm.
would say. Did you have any like pre-ideas for the interview going into like, the planning of it at all?
Oh, no. I honestly, that's the thing. It's like this was so magical because
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm really just good at, handling the music side.
Yeah.
And I think I do have a good imagination for certain things, but I don't know. Especially at the pacing as this was going is like I knew I wanted to get this out next month, and I
Mm-hmm.
knew I wanted a video, and
Mm-hmm.
I had no ideas. I
Right.
really didn't. But I think like one day I was just in the kitchen. I was like, wouldn't it be kind of cool if like we did something with blood and like, I'm getting beat up? And,
Yeah.
you know.
I love that idea. Where did that kind of come from? Because I kind of heard you explaining it a little bit to some of the people on set that were like what is the significance of that?
One, I thought it would be just different to do,
Mm-hmm.
especially for me, because I feel like I'm always just kind of cleaned up and looking into the camera, and it's, my last video was pretty standard, but I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved everything about it. But I just wanted to do something, different for me,
Mm-hmm.
and but I was just kind of workshopping something, and I think with that, it just kind of meant, just getting. I was trying to probably mentioning on set the weight of the world,
Yeah.
just but I also have a tendency of beating myself up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really the main significance of it. It was just like
Right.
I'm always kind of hard on myself. So it was just kind of the metaphor of getting beat up and you're battered and bloody and
Right.
So
I think we kind of nailed that in the video. I'm excited for everybody to see it, man.
Me too, man.
So you were telling me a little bit, and you don't have to share this if you don't want
Mm-hmm.
to, but when can people listen to the song and ballpark idea of when we should put out the video?
So I'm still it's technically still in the lab, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the master is done. But I'm kind of going back and forth with some things, but it's definitely going to be early or mid March.
Okay.
I just don't have the exact date in my head. 'Cause
Okay.
I don't know what Friday. It's supposed to, the New Music Friday is the thing now.
That's a
so.
thing. Yeah.
But I don't know what date it's going to be. But it's going to be announced fairly soon, and then the video hopefully the same month. If but there's no rush with that, so
Cool.
we're gonna make it
I'm
happen.
excited, man. I'm
Me too.
excited. So I want to dive a little deeper into like who you are.
Sure.
So let's just start with the name. Where did Riot of Me come from?
I think with that is that was pretty random too,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't tell you where it, how I made it, but I think when I finally did, it was kind of just a play on like your inner fire and your emotions and just the if anybody has any battles that they deal with and within themselves, that's kind of where it came from. And I knew that I wanted to make music that was emotional, and I think it just kind of fit.
Right.
And Riot is kind of it's a funny term because you usually think it's kind of be like a party or it's going to be pretty crazy.
Right.
And it's not typically, but I just think that's where it is. It's just an emotion that you feel and battle and blah blah blah. But I just think it's something that means well, I guess what I'm trying to say, it's important to me, and I think it's important to people too when they hear the songs and they're like, all right, well, I guess I get that.
Right. Yeah, because I was listening to your Spotify last night. Shout out Spotify users. I really got the name like just from listening to some of your music, and it makes sense to me.
There you go.
Because Riot to me, I don't immediately picture like a riot. Like I picture a little bit of like craziness and like
Right.
I want to say like not aggression, but like kind of just like intensity,
Right.
intensity. That's kind of what I feel like, and that the of me is kind of like a symbol of everybody has that within themselves, and I think that's kind of what I gathered from it.
Well, you
So.
just explained it way better than I did.
Okay.
I was kind of tripping over myself, but that's exactly
No,
right.
no.
I mean, you listened to it, you understood it, you felt it, and that's what's important to me.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Right.
I think that's exactly right. I think you hit the nail on the head with that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what did your early days look like? Like what was like your childhood like? Like what was kind of like the growing up aspect of Zach?
Yeah, I mean, childhood was good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grew up in a musical family. My brother was a singer and actor, and
Mm-hmm.
my dad was a musician. Um, I never wanted to play the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I never did. I didn't want to play any instruments. I wanted to play video games forever. I still do.
Matt's a
You
big
know, are you
gamer.
a gamer?
Yeah.
I love gaming. A big PC, or PC guy?
Yeah,
Me too.
of course.
I'm gonna get your information after. So yeah, but it took until like middle school or junior high. That's what we say in New York. And then in high school, I really started getting serious with like music, but it started from just like choir. I just wanted to sing, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. But then when people said like, "Hey, you can sing, you must be a singer," you know, I was like,
Right.
"Okay, I guess I will try." And then I think it started with a couple solos with the choir, and then I remember doing a showcase at school, like a variety show,
Okay.
and that's really where like it just blew my head off. Like, I was like, music is my thing. Like, this is it. And because I was so scared to show people as much as I wanted to, and then when I did it, I like became addicted. And I think that's probably the same exact thing for a lot of people that do it, but instantly. And then from there, just every showcase I could do at school, I did it. Sang and sang and sang, and I didn't even play guitar. I didn't know how to play guitar. And then
Did that come easily for you?
yeah, it actually did.
Yeah.
I'm actually very blessed in that way because I learned a couple chords, and then I just kept doing them over and over again. And then I brought it home one day. I'm playing a guitar, and I just was like, oh, I just want to do my own thing. So I made like my own song out of nowhere.
Right.
And then I showed a buddy. I was like, hey, this is a song. And then that was my first song ever written. That must have been like 9th or 10th grade. And then I just started playing in bands. And then I did everything under the sun, you know, anything from like an indie rock thing but I did metal and a whole bunch. I was screaming my head off for a long time. For years I was doing that. Yeah.
That's great. Can we hear any of those songs now, or is that not?
Yeah, I have,
Is it all rips off?
I do have songs that are like somewhere in the ether.
Okay.
But my last band, right before I moved, we did play it was kind of Deftones-ish
Okay. Yeah.
stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and I sang in there, but that was really aggressive stuff. But I love doing it.
What would you describe your style as right now?
Good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess like every time I try to tell people, like, it's just like an alt indie folk thing.
Right.
But because it started when I really started making Riot and Me songs, they were really just me and a guitar, and then I put a little bit of layers of electric guitar and you know, those whale sounds and stuff like that.
Dude, I love that, especially in the song that you guys haven't been able to listen to yet. Like,
Yeah.
I've noticed that
Cool, good.
in there, and I really like that mix of like acoustic and
Yeah.
like electric, but like distorted electric.
Yeah.
To me,
You're
at least.
I mean, it's funny because I'm glad you do like that, because in the earlier time it wasn't as crazy. I think we were talking about the whole Riot thing is like now I feel like I'm really kind of coming into the name because I'm adding a lot more sounds,
Right.
and they're kind of wacky.
Right.
Like I have a lot of auto tunes. I have a lot of weird produced sounds, the whale sounds. It's funny, like I have like a little gadget that like I can play on this acoustic guitar.
Really?
It makes these crazy noises. And
That's really cool.
but I think the reason why it's happening is because I finally have the freedom to do it myself. Because we might have been talking the other day, like I went to studios for my whole life,
Yes. Yes.
and then finally I invested in myself and I started recording and producing my own stuff, and I was like, dude, I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know. So can I cuss on here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Fuck it. You know?
Fuck it.
So you say you were into studios, so
Yeah.
like, did you not, when you were with a band, did you feel like you couldn't really do a lot of different things? Or when you were in the band, you were like, okay, I can do a lot?
When I was in bands, I mostly wrote. I did write the songs mostly. I mean, it was a collab effort too. I don't want to say it was just me because it wasn't, but I had a lot of freedom within that, but when it came to going into the studio to track them, I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
You know, I could hardly play to like the metronome. I was like, what the? I played guitar but I wasn't like behind the console and the desk. You know, oh, let's raise this. Let's put reverb here. I'm going to add this plugin. I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
But it's kind of funny you're saying that because, like, when I was able to finally do it myself a few months ago, I doubted myself really hard because I was like, I usually have somebody, like an engineer that's sitting next to me, and they're like, oh, let's do this. And they make this song on the program, and then it comes to life. But then I realized, like, I was sitting next to that person for 10 years. So I kind of had some, like,
idea.
mental notes. And I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing. So when I got behind the program, I was like, I can do this. This is really cool.
I love that, dude. You were kind of like learning subconsciously the whole time. That's pretty tight.
It shocked me. Yeah.
So one thing that I found super interesting when we were talking on Sunday after the shoot, we went out for beers. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about this because you were telling me that you would like go around town going like gigging out pretty much. Like you would get a bunch of gigs, like open mic stuff all the time. And like, I think it's kind of funny. Like I want you to explain like kind of how that ended a little bit.
Oh, how I stopped doing it?
How it stopped doing it. Cause I thought that was actually really not funny, okay. But like, I thought that was like an interesting thing. But yeah, I wanna know how that ended, but also like when you first moved here, how did you find the places and stuff like that? Okay. And just like the whole thing, I'm interested in.
So if we're thinking the same thing, I'm gonna go off that.
Yeah.
How it started was really, I mean, same kind of thing. I don't know how I find these people, but I just like, I think, you know what? I think I just kind of Googled like Florida open mics, and then they surprisingly do come up, which is pretty interesting. You know? And then I started at like really shitty bars, in downtown Orlando. And I remember like I went to like I went one down there like 1 or 2 times, and then they stopped doing it. So I was like, okay, I got to find a plan B. And then
they stopped doing the open mics?
I believe so. Yeah, I think they started doing like more DJ stuff.
Okay.
Which made sense. You know, I think they wanted to bring more people in the party. And and then I did see that Sanford had some stuff, and I really liked. Well, I don't think I even knew. I think they were too far from me at the time, and then I decided to go try that circuit in this part of Orlando. And anyway, I got there and I played them very often to the point that I made connections of like, you should talk to this person and that person, and so I did, and eventually I got an agent, you know, and she would book me 10 times a month, you know, at certain bars and restaurants. And that was good. It was pretty fun for a good year, and I had fun doing it. Sorry.
No, I thought this was funny too. Yeah, I was like, that's kind of crazy.
If we're thinking of the same thing, it's pretty much just like I made the songs my own way because I didn't know like people wanted to hear Living on a Prayer and shit.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I don't want to play that. Right. Really.
You don't like covers. Like you don't want to play covers at least.
I don't. If I'm going to do a cover, it's going to be kind of random and and it's going to be a song that means something to me, but it's hard when it's Bon Jovi and I'm like, you know, especially in Orlando, you go to any street corner, someone's singing Bon Jovi.
I know, dude.
You know?
I know.
Or Journey or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I took a lot of songs that I guess I thought people wanted to hear, but I made them my own, so they didn't even sound like the original. And I think people were like, it's cool, it's good, but it's like so sad. Like it just sounds very minor key, you know? And it worked for a long time, but then I remember hearing like I kept getting like I didn't tell you this the other day.
Okay.
I kept getting like texts from my agent like saying like, hey, like speed it up. Like just like play faster. I was like, but I don't know. I'm doing what I can, you know?
Yeah.
And it would kind of infuriate me because I thought like I was doing well. But I don't know. I was very self-deprecating with it too. Like every time I'd go to a gig, I'd be like, you know, these people don't want to fucking hear me.
Right, you know? Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like of course you would feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, because like, especially if your agent is telling you that too, it's like you're gonna start, especially as artists too. Like I do that. I'm like, oh, this person's gonna see my work and be like, this is bullshit. Like this sucks. You know,
Right.
But it's subjective.
I guess it is. Yeah, I thought it was kind of 50-50. Like I think a lot of people would dig it. Like there was great gigs that I had that I would sing like it's like sometimes you'd sing, let me see, I'm so bad at it, I don't know, Love Song by The Cure, you know, and I love that song, but I guess not a lot of people want to hear that song, you know, when they're out for brunch.
Right.
But I do, and I want to have fun.
Yeah.
You know? But there's been times that I'll do it, and like the whole bar starts singing the song. I'm like, oh, you guys are cool. You know, that's great. And we're all vibing, but then there's times that people are just shaking their heads like, dude, you know?
Yeah.
But so I guess, to get to it, yeah, eventually like they just like kind of stopped booking me. Like I remember like it was just smaller. I think they were putting me in smaller bars, and then I was like, oh, this is different, you know. And then the gigs were just less and less, and then I would like hit up the chat, be like, hey, anything available? And just be like, go fuck yourselves, you know.
Well, that's what I thought was like so funny, but also like, you know, of course that's like upsetting too. But now I think, are you in a place now where it's like, okay, yeah, like that wasn't right for me. Like that like I wasn't, it didn't seem like you were able to really even, you know, put out the stuff you wanted to make. Yeah.
Right. So 9 to 5, 3 to 5 times a week, I just wouldn't have the time to write a song or even, you know, go to the studio. Or if I was in the position I am now, like sometimes recording really takes a lot out of you, because it's like you got to look at the screen. Yeah, I know you know. You know, you got to look at the screen and you got to get the right take. And if you're doing a take for hours, it can really be detrimental. And you're like, especially if you don't get it.
Yeah.
And I also blast my headphones too. So after a while, you're just like, bro, that
you become deaf.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
It's all like fatigue, you know. And so sometimes that feels like work, but when you get closer and you make those results, you're like, shit, cool.
It feels good.
It does, yeah.
It's like you created that like diamond in the rough type vibe. So what does your like studio setup look like? Like what is like where do you record? Do you go somewhere? Do you do it at home?
Yeah, it's all home now.
Okay.
But it's like it's the jankiest. I mean I've seen jankier, but it's one of these. This is 7B, SM7B.
I think so. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I actually record everything through this microphone.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a good mic.
It's a great mic.
Good mic.
And it's not even a condenser microphone. I think it's a dynamic mic, right? So it's like it's not even a typical mic that you would record with. But I've made records with it before, so I was like, you know, let me just try it.
Okay.
And I don't know, it's working. So there's so it's just first of all, it's a gaming PC. So that's because that was really why I built it. But then I realized that it was so powerful that like I was able to run the programs that I have and all the plugins and all that. So it's really just like a screen, and I don't even have like the right monitors, like the speakers, you know.
I think it's all kind of bullshit, to be
Somehow
honest.
It really is. Yeah.
Like I've been able to get by like without, you know, I use one monitor for editing. Matt may feel differently about this, but I've gotten through like, cuz Matt is like very well versed in like softwares and you know the correct monitors and stuff like that. And I just, maybe I'm a little lazy. I just don't know. Like, I just don't know. So I've been always working with like what I have.
Right.
And I just, yeah, I think, you know, as long as you can get by, I don't really see, you know, a problem. But yeah, it is nice to have the correct stuff.
It is. Yeah, but you know, it's really kind of funny that you can make these crazy records with just this one little box that I have. And you plug your microphones into it and you just go.
Right.
And a lot of these records that you hear from all these indie artists are really just from that same little box. And I was paying thousands of dollars at a big place, for a long time that it's just like, dude, I couldn't do it anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of really in my DIY era right now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So with this, this is an album coming out. Is that the correct terminology for it, or is it like an EP, or is it just a single?
It's just going to be singles.
Okay, cool.
And I think I'm just going to do singles for the rest of the year.
Cool.
You know, the year started, and I think we're just going to do it like a song a month.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay,
and,
cool.
I'm a little behind right now for that next song. But
Yeah.
but that's kind of the game, and I'm excited to just like keep working, and because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
You know? Sometimes I think with this song too, funny enough, I just sat down one day with the guitar on my couch and I started writing, and then I was like, this sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I tracked the guitar, and then I just kept building. I was like, this is the one.
I
you
love
know?
that.
So
What I always like to know like what was, because I feel like artists have eras, like they have like different eras and stuff like that. That's not a Taylor Swift reference at all, but I just feel like each artist like goes through like a time in their life where it's like this was going on, and you know, this was happening at the time in their life when they released this album and stuff like that. What was going on in your life when you either wrote this song or were thinking about this song, or you know, kind of what were you like going through in that time? Or was this like pretty recently too?
well, this song is recent.
Because it seems kind of fast. Like
Yeah.
it seemed like a quick turnaround for this.
It was. I mean, yeah, I wrote it maybe a couple of months ago, and I started recording a couple of months ago, and so it's all kind of in a recent era, you know. And I don't typically write songs that I reflect on like from like years and years ago. I kind of think it's been this this thing that's just kind of dragged on for a long time. That
Right.
Constantly is just something's in my head. There's never like 1 second I feel like that I'm like not thinking about anything, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of noise. That's what I hear a lot of people say. There's like this noise that I constantly have, and like I feel like when it comes to that, like when I'm writing, I don't even know what I'm writing about. I just start writing, and I'll be honest, I don't know what I'm writing about, and then it'll just kind of piece itself together, and then it becomes this thing where I'm like, yeah, like it's weird. It's like sometimes it's like it's written, and then I look at it from afar, and I'm like, I do relate to that,
Right.
you know. And then I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense, but
You're almost like subconsciously writing something.
I feel like that's always happening
from
yeah.
the past. Yeah.
It's really hard for me to just be like, I want to write about my dog, and then I'll sit down and write about my dog. It's like it never happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I don't know. I think this one, like I said, is really just about just being so hard on yourself, and there's a lot of meaning within it too, though, about other things and anything that you can relate to.
Right.
Right. But I think that's the main one. I feel like there's always just just the constant judgment that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that, but that's the like disappointing thing about being artistic, I think, is
Yeah,
like you're
yeah.
always constantly judging yourself.
Right.
And like being like, oh, dude, how did I come off in that situation? And like,
Yeah.
even if you're the most confident person in the world, like you're like, shit, did I like come off okay? Like, did I come off the way that I wanted to, and stuff like that? Do you ever feel like that when you either release a song or like you are performing for people in public? Because I feel like if I were a musician, I'd feel like so vulnerable, like performing in front of
Yeah.
people, or like putting out a piece of a song that people are listening to constantly.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it is that feeling. It's like, it's weird because like I love performing. Like I always want to do it. That's why I fell in love with it, because I think I'm addicted to playing out and doing it. But it is weird because it's like, yeah, you do go out there, and like I know that there's sometimes I do go out there and I'm like, you know, I'm like, I don't even, and I'm like, why? Because I've been doing it for so long. But maybe it is, yeah, it could be like, oh well, yeah, you have to let the people in now. It's that time.
Yeah.
And now you got to sing those words that, you know, because like sometimes you could also be like, oh, this line can mean a lot to you, but yeah, maybe sometimes I'm like, this line sucks. People think this is dumb, you know, and like I don't
Yeah.
know, like, but but dude, you're saying it you're saying the things that I always think, but like I'm always overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always, second guessing myself, and so yeah, I mean, but as of recently, I guess I have just been kind of like, I'm just gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about social media on Sunday.
Yeah.
And, like I'm really happy to finally do more of that, because I feel like for a long time I really kind of looked at social media and I was just like, I just don't want to be part of the train, But,
Right.
like, you have to,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, especially if you're so small as an artist, and you gotta push yourself and put out content. And but I guess I was kind of afraid of like what people would think of what I'm doing. And like, right now I'm really mostly just looking into the camera and I'm cutting it up, and it's like,
Yeah.
and I got to be honest, if like there's a side of me that sees it and I'm like, this is cringe. I don't love this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's uncomfortable.
It is.
Yeah.
Like I even got a comment the other day, and this guy was just like, "Hey man, like, because I run ads.
Okay.
On some of the.
Okay. Okay.
And there's this guy that commented. He was like, "Hey man, like, can you stop promoting this?"
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
And I was just like, oh. I was like,
That's crazy.
I just commented back, no. Like. But
which song was he talking about?
It was actually the song I put out this month.
Okay. Okay.
So I did a whole bunch of like these little.
Dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, and then he like commented back after that, and he was just like, "Okay, I tried." I was like, "What?"
Take it as a compliment. These days I just be like, "Thanks for the comment. Thank you."
Yeah. I wasn't even gonna respond, but it's kind of fun now.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well now I get to kind of, just say my piece too if I need to. But
yeah.
But I just said no.
Right.
Exactly. That's very
so
true.
funny.
I was like, you can, as long as you're coming. Listen, like, I have to do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. And I had this discussion with myself too. Is like, is this the cringiest shit you've ever seen? There can't be.
No.
I've seen,
dude.
I've seen a mess online. It's like, so I'm just gonna make my stupid little videos, and
there's so much worse stuff. And the good thing is you're being true to yourself. You're showing the art that you make.
Right.
Who really gives a shit? Like, people are like, I mean, look at some of this shit on the internet that you see on a daily basis. Yeah. It's like just full brain rot like stuff.
Yeah,
it's just not, it's terrible. It's terrible stuff.
I'm about to start adding that to the videos. Get that algorithm really popping.
I know, dude. I know. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, man, Matt asked this question to another guest we had on the podcast, and I really like this question. What is a question that you wish people would ask you more often that you want to answer?
Dude, that's a really good question.
Right? It's like that I was thinking about that, and I don't have an answer for that. I really like that question a lot.
I do, and I'm gonna give you an answer, but then I know that later at 3 a.m. I'm gonna be like, fuck, this is so much better. You're right.
Yeah.
I think maybe like, and I hate to sound self-centered, but I do like when people say like what is this about, or I don't know. Does that seem?
No, that's what I immediately wanted to ask you was like, what, like, where did this come from?
Right.
I think that's cool. That's what I find interesting.
Right.
Is like, I want to know like what you were doing. Were you drinking coffee when you made this,
right,
or like
right.
what time of the day was it? Like, I'm interested in that stuff. So I think that's a valid question.
Yeah, I wish I can give more of an answer to that question though, because it's like sometimes I'm just like, it's whatever you feel, man.
Yeah.
And then like, but it is true. Like I remember I have a song called "Pick My Poison." This guy came in, he was just like,
love that song.
Thank you very much. And this guy came to me, he was just like, is that song about like drugs? And I was like, and I don't do any substance, nothing, like I don't have that much fun.
Right.
But I was like, no, it's really not. But I was like, but I said to him, I was like, but if you think it is, and if you feel that way and it matches with something that you can relate to, then fuck yeah. But not for me necessarily.
Right. So Matt had a great question. How does it feel when somebody doesn't interpret your music the way that you intended it to be interpreted? You're
gonna hate my answer, but it doesn't. I don't think it bothers me. I think like if you don't get it, actually, you know what? I'm gonna take that back, but I'm gonna give this first. Sorry,
Okay.
I am gonna say it doesn't bother me necessarily because it's right, and you brought up a good point, Matt. Like, yeah, like my part was to create it, and your part is to listen and interpret it, and but I think what it is for me is just like I just want to feel something.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to feel something, always, like no matter what it is, like, and maybe that's cliche, but we were talking to the other day, and like I can't write songs that I don't feel true to.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I want to write like a rock banger and really uplift you and and headbang, and it's not me. It's not like I don't write like the happiest songs, at least not yet.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something. There's a. I've heard this before. There's a comfort in sadness,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like. If a song just gives you the shivers, and if it makes you think about 10 years ago, if it makes you think about your father, your dead dog, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
like I love that. There's like something so romantic about that,
Right.
and that's what I aim to do. I do hate though when someone's like I had someone recently, and this is no shade, I'm sorry. It's okay. But like when people are like, are you trying to do this a certain way? When they're like, because I do hear a lot of times people say like, why do you use auto-tune? Like, are you trying to, because it's like when someone says like, you look better without makeup.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like.
yeah.
That's the
yeah.
closest thing I could put it.
Right.
But, and I'm just, well, it's how I want the song to sound. It's how I'm feeling. It's how I want the production to be. I could sing it without the autotune, I'm sure, but I want this electronic sound. I want layers and something to become bigger. So I think that's what it is. I think when someone will kind of be like, well, like it shouldn't be this way, or it's like,
Well, that's again where it becomes like subjective too.
Right.
Is like,
Right.
but I also do feel like people give auto-tune a bad rep.
Sure.
Because it's like, oh, you're just trying to make yourself sound better.
Right.
But in my mind, auto-tune is like another instrument. Like it's like having another type of instrument or a different type of layer in the song.
Agreed.
So yeah, no, I totally get that though. I also heard I don't know who it was, but I heard a musician say like, once I put this song out into the public, it's not mine anymore.
Yes, I've heard that too.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, but I also like, a part of me is like, no, that's always yours, you
True.
know? But I don't know. That's a good question though, Matt. I think that's a really good question.
Is good. Was my answer okay?
Yeah.
Because I feel, I don't know. I think because I did want to express that thing. When
Yeah.
People are like, why did you do that?
Right.
Or like, what was the choice? I was like, I don't know. Like, can it be weird?
Yeah.
I love weird shit.
Oh, yeah,
That's
I
the
do
thing.
too.
I think that's kind of where I'm going. Like, lately is like I like weird shit.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes I am like, wow, this song only needed guitar and vocal, but I sat there for 17 more hours and put all this garbage on top. But I like it. I think it's cool. And
That's your art. That's what
Right.
it is. That's what it is.
yeah,
Going back to social media a little bit, like talking about like cringy, I was thinking about it. It doesn't have to be cringy. Like it can be cool.
Right.
You know, it could be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of like our generation is catching on to that. It's like, you don't have to sit there and be like, top 10 reasons of like why you should go here and blah, blah, blah. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't
I hate
have
that.
to be like that.
I want to eat my phone when I see those videos.
You literally, yeah, it doesn't have to be. So like, I think that's why Matt and I were like, man, we should like really work with Zach on stuff, because we could make some really cool stuff. I mean, like you see
Yeah,
it from this
sorry.
music video already, you know?
Dude, I mean, you got,
Yeah.
I'm already falling in love with your
Yeah.
productions and everything you guys are doing. So that's
We're
absolutely-
excited, man.
Yeah,
We're
me too.
excited. Well, do you have anything that you want to say else to the podcast before we?
I'm happy to
Wrap
be
up
here,
here.
and I'm happy to have met you and you.
We're happy to have you, man.
Absolutely. I'm like, I think like we're talking about eras. I'm finally in my like fucking, I'm doing it era.
Yes.
Like I played music forever, but now I feel like I'm finally in a in a space that like I can really do it and show people. Like I do want to say shout out to all the people that are listening. I know it's not a lot of you, but I appreciate the amount that are, you know,
Right.
even if it is 5 of you. And no, that's good, you know. And I'm
Yeah,
happy
dude.
because like those 5 people are like, I appreciate the people that listen and the people that are like, you know, sharing and adding it to playlists and
Yep.
even messaging me and telling me, you know, like they like the song. It's like I've made these little relationships with people that like I never thought I'd know. And like I never thought people would be like, "Hey, I'm excited for the next song."
Yeah, man.
You know. So now that we're here, I'm like, "Well, let's get you that next song."
It's wild to me that you don't see that, to be honest. Like, we're all excited to hear your music and,
thank you, man.
everything. But yeah, man, I think it was, you know, really great. I think you really are in your doing it era right now, and I think that's cool. I think that's really cool.
I mean, you're inspiring me too. You know, I think it's the ball is rolling, and the fact that we did meet each other and we were making a cool video, and I think it helps me, helps you. It just helps me, not like, you know, not publicly, I guess, but it just like motivates me.
Yeah,
You know?
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
That's why, like, on Sunday again, that was just a nice day for me.
Dude,
like, just that was a nice day.
Yeah.
It was like we were literally just like, when you watch the video, just know that it was a gang of buddies just hanging out and like making a fun video, even though it looked, you know, like he got his ass beat.
It looked like I got beat up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was worth getting beat up.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But in between the takes and when the cameras weren't rolling, we were laughing and stuff. Yeah. Your goal with music is to blow up, become famous, play arenas and everything like that. How often do you think about that? Is that even what you want out of music?
So, of course, like if that came, cool. I mean, you know, the only thing I want, I think the biggest battle that I have and I've had for a long time, and especially now, like I just don't want to work a 9 to 5 anymore. You know, so if I can just pay my bills playing music, listen, I want to get on the road. I want to sell records. Well, if you even sell records anymore, but I want people to stream them. I want to sell, you know, merch to people that want it. And I just want to, you know, I want to tour and see the world. I haven't seen the world enough. I've been kind of in my own little bubble for a long time. But I always say to myself is like, I just want to be able to pay my bills. You know, like if I can do that and play music, I'd be very happy. If I did blow up and play arenas and big shows, yeah, fuck yeah. I always ask and I think about it a lot. And I do say to myself, I'm like, I always say like, am I ready for that? Like if somebody was like, hey man, you're opening up for Bon Iver tomorrow. You got to play in front of 2,000 people. I'm like, I do say to myself like, yeah, I think I can do it. Like, I think, of course I'd be nervous, you know, but like, I think I could do it. And like, so that's just like, that's the thing. I'm just like, yeah, like if I do get there, like, can I do it? And I do think like when I do get there, I'll be ready.
That's a great answer, dude.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. Yeah, I think too yesterday, I like what you said about like I just want to be able to pay my bills and not work a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yesterday, something that I thought was worth bringing up was we met a gentleman named Pat in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And he was very nice. He was an older gentleman, and we were all just kind of sitting at a coffee shop having coffee, breakfast, because it was a little early, or lunch-ish. And he was just saying how like our generation is very like entrepreneurial.
Right.
And I remember you saying that, and that just like stuck out to me. I don't really have a point to say this, but I just remember you telling Pat that you were like, I just want to pay my bills. Like, I just want to be able to do that. And I thought that was a really cool answer. But yeah, man, I love everything you're doing. It's really sick.
Thanks, dude.
Really
I really do
awesome,
appreciate it. And it's likewise. Feelings are very mutual.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just where can people find you? What's your Instagram handle? Stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to find me is Instagram, Riot of Me, RIOTOFME. You can find me on all platforms, same thing, RIOTOFME, 3 words. And I'm on all platforms.
All platforms?
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, if you're a SoundCloud guy, I don't know if I'm on there. But yeah, if you use like the big title, Spotify, Apple,
Cool.
I'm there. And my song Painted to Gold was out next month. What we did the video for.
Falling.
It's a song
Can we
called-
say it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a song called Falling, and So yeah, you're gonna have a new song and a new video, and
Sweet.
just follow me there.
Sweet, man. Well, it was great having you on the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.